Hello from Tirana. This is Jason and Leslie.
We are early retirees and we're traveling as much as possible, and this is our personal video diary of our travels. We are in Tirana, Albania. We've been here for about a week now. We leave in 3 days, 4 days. It's Sunday, we leave Thursday morning. So we're just going to talk about what's happened since our last video when we were in Budva, Montenegro.
Leaving Budva.
Leaving
That's where. Oh wait, before we get into that,
Yeah.
I want to remember
an interesting story
in
from
Budva that we
Budva.
forgot to record. We were walking back from the old town or beach, and Leslie saw a guy passed out
Not
in
just
a car.
passed out.
Somebody who looked dead in a car.
The door was open, and he was like
Sort of leaned over.
out halfway out of the car.
And you said, "Is that guy dead?"
Is that guy dead? And you're like, I don't know.
And we looked a little bit more, and
I get
it
a
was
little
a
closer.
possibility.
And he wasn't moving, and we didn't know what to do.
So it's kind of one of those deals that you just walk away. Do you,
And I'm like, we can't.
or
If
are
he's
you
dead,
a better human,
Yeah.
or do you not want to get involved? Seems like most people didn't want to get involved.
No.
So a lot of people were walking by, but no one really was looking.
Well, and then was that where the guy from?
Well, then I asked, so I started trying to type. We started walking away and just sort of saying, well, we can't do anything about it. Like, who would you even call? And then I started sort of typing it in the phone, like, that guy's unconscious.
What do you do?
Yeah, dude.
But you talked to someone on the street, and the guy.
Well, not yet.
Okay.
No, I said, I tried to type it in the phone, and then there were some kids coming. We tried to ask them, and then this guy on the street came with his girlfriend, wife, and I stopped him and showed him my message. Said that guy there is unconscious, and he just patted me on the shoulder and said he was Kosovoan.
He did. You just don't.
And I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
Kosovoan. He didn't. Yeah, he didn't really even
He
look.
just moved on,
Yeah,
yeah.
he just kept moving. And his wife, or girlfriend, they just no interest.
No.
So then I went and asked the people at Hanoi restaurant, which was right there, and I showed the girl my message in the front, and she just kind of laughed and said, "Oh no, he's fine." So, okay.
And he had what, Croatia license plate,
Yeah.
I think. So we left at that point, even though
She
as a
said it was
worrier.
fine. She acted like they knew him.
Yeah.
So it's probably just frequent behavior.
Well, then 2 days later, or the next day, we did see that same car, the
Yeah.
Croatian license plate,
In front of the same restaurant.
in front of the same restaurant. So they probably knew the guy. We imagine it was maybe an
Owner / frequent visitor.
alcohol or drug
Yeah,
issue,
that's what I would say.
but he looked dead. I mean, you don't like
Hang
pass
halfway
out
of your car.
halfway out. There was no like vomit or anything,
Yeah.
but it was really weird.
Yeah.
And we tried to be good humans.
Anyways, just wanted to remember that.
Yeah.
Yes. So back to leaving Budva.
To go to Skoder again.
Checked out. I got pictures of you locking the key up. We got to the taxi spot a little early, but our taxi guy's always early.
So we used the same taxi driver that took us to Budva to take us back to Skoder. He arrived on time.
Early.
Yeah.
Came up the road. There was no place to park,
Yeah.
surprisingly, because there's no sidewalk, so you can't. If there's not a sidewalk, you can't park.
So we had to walk down the road to get in the cab. And that trip was uneventful. I mean, still the jerky driving and
Passing, irregular gas, irregular brakes. It's a standard, so.
in the wrong gear a
Or is
lot
that
of
the right
time.
thing? What does Maria call it? It's not a standard, it's a manual.
Manual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not automatic.
Yeah.
It's the gear shifter.
um,
So you take off in like second or third gear,
Yeah.
and the car doesn't have enough power, and it's very odd.
but we lived and it was fine.
Yeah.
The border crossing was super smooth, although several motorcycles were traveling together. So here motorcycles just drive.
Like a car.
Well,
Oh, no, here. Yeah. No.
Oh, yeah.
In the United States, they drive like they're a car.
Here they either pass, like make a little middle lane and pass, or pass to the right. Like they just honk their horn at a car and go around them, expecting the car to scoot over.
Or if the cars are stopped for any reason,
they go around them.
The motorcycles
Which does not help traffic.
No.
So a bunch of motorcycles came and pulled into the border line in front of us, but it didn't matter. They took our passports. They took the taxi driver's paper, and they wrote something, I think, on a piece of paper, but they never even opened our passports, so they don't know if it was actually us. It didn't seem to matter.
Montenegrin guy just was on his phone as we pulled up. He did our stuff, got his phone back out, and just started looking.
Yeah, so it's like a toll booth area, and you go to the first guy, who's the country you're leaving. So that in that case it was Montenegro, and then you drive like 3 feet, and you stop again, and then that was the Albanian border guard, and he has to do something, and then you're done.
Just funny, it wasn't like that when we left. I can't.
but we got out of the car.
So it just shows you how important it is that they see you.
Yeah, they didn't see us then either.
Yeah.
But so that was fine, and again, I really enjoyed Shkodër. It's just such a nice little town. We just walked around a lot. We went to Fish Art, and Jason got his seafood linguine that he got before and he really liked. And we had an older waiter and spoke some English. I think he was also speaking to us. No, didn't speak English.
No.
He was speaking to us in Italian sometimes, I think.
I thought it was pretty. I think I thought that, but then I think it was Albanian. But anyways, yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah. So like, we got through pointing and everything, and we're done eating, and he brings over these little, kind of like a champagne glass or something, with like lemon sorbet, and he gave it to us, and he kind of like mimed eating it, and was like, ah, or something. So like, it was like refreshing, like palate cleanser.
Because it was really hot.
It was really hot, and it was really good, like super good, and he was just really cute, and that was very nice.
Yeah, he was very friendly.
For us not being able to communicate.
Yeah, for the communication, he was.
But yeah, we really enjoyed that.
But
meal.
we were also pretty much the only people in there.
We were the only people in there.
There was another group, but they left.
Yeah, but I still like Shkodër. I wish again we'd had maybe a week there. I think we could have rented a car there if we did it like on the outskirts of the town.
Yeah, you probably could.
And then we could have explored more, but maybe next time. So then
That's a step for you. Saying we could have rented a car.
From like
usually if I mention it, it's
not driving in the town
Yeah.
part. So then the next day, we're meeting our taxi driver at noon. Well, first of all, I thought hotel checkout was 11, and it was 10:15, and I was like, I better check. And I pull up, because I booked it on booking.com, and it said 10, and I was like, holy crap, because I don't like to be late. Like, that would be awful to
if you're on time, you're late.
leave a hotel after checkout. So you ran downstairs, and the guy was like,
I said what time? I said what time is checkout? And he's like, yeah,
between 10 and 11.
Between 10 and 11.
We're like,
I don't know what
okay.
that means, but
So we were out the door.
we were between 10 and 11.
Yeah, I mean, we were out in 10 or 15 minutes, by 10:30, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I felt terrible. And then he was like, I said, can you hold our bags? He's like, sure, just put them there.
Normally, when you ask to hold the bags, you're expecting like a room that they lock them up in.
Yeah, they normally
He's
take
like,
you to a room
right
with a
there.
key. And so we were going to just go hang out in a park.
But again, it's a difference in what we're afraid of.
Right.
Of theft and everything else in the United States versus that's just not an issue here.
And this hotel was on a pedestrian area. The door was always open to the hotel. And then we went to the park. I realized I'd left like all the money that we were going to use to pay the cab driver in one of those bags.
And we had been down there enough to know that he wasn't. He
There.
doesn't always sit there. He's sitting out too.
So anyway, we went back. He was not
He
at the
was
desk.
not there. Our bags were there.
Our bags
One of them had
like
been
had
moved.
moved, but everything was there. It was fine. We took the bags, and like, would he come back and be like,
I don't think so.
I don't think
work that
that's
way.
just like on their radar the way it is on ours. So we got to where we were meeting the taxi driver. We get in, and he turns around, and he says, Montenegro?
Yeah, well, I think he didn't really say a whole lot. I think I showed him like where we wanted to go because I typed out, there's no addresses, so I typed out like the name of the restaurant that's closest to here.
And the street name.
Thinking that maybe he could put the restaurant in GPS, but no. So then, then he was like, Montenegro.
We're like, no.
We're like, you just took us from Montenegro.
Tirana, and he seemed confused, but then he finally said, Tirana, okay.
And I tried to get him to speak into Google Translate, but
it wasn't working.
He doesn't really.
Yeah.
I don't know. He doesn't. I don't think he used technology a lot, so he just kind of was like, meh.
And he was probably our age or a few years older, if that.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
So anyway, we get in the cab. He says, Tirana, okay, and off we go. He has no idea where we're going.
And our assumption was that we were just going to figure that out later, which was right. And he kind of made that clear, like,
we'll look at it later.
When we get to Tirana, we'll just stop in the middle of the interstate.
Which is what we did. Yeah. So we're coming like off the interstate into like more of the Tirana area.
We call it an interstate. It's like a 4 to 5 lane highway, probably. Well, 3, and then it turns as you get more into the city. Maybe
yeah. So like we came off, but where he pulled over on the side of the road.
Oh yeah.
To look.
The first.
So he's like, "Let me see your phone," basically.
Yeah, because he wanted to see where we were going.
Yeah.
Because I had pulled up GPS before we left.
Yeah.
And showed him the spot, and he was kind of trying to put it in his GPS for like 2 seconds, and then he was like, "We'll do it later."
So then finally he
took my phone.
He took your phone, but he didn't know how to use it.
He didn't know how to use GPS. So
it was set on English.
He kept twisting the map instead of just letting the map guide itself. He kept trying to twist it so that it was always facing up. It was so strange. So then he's driving, twisting the map in 4 or 5 lane traffic that it's crazy traffic.
So the GPS wanted him to take an exit to the right, and we both clearly knew we were not going to make that exit, and we didn't. But he pulls over after the exit, and I doubt there was a full car width, not based on the way people were honking at us.
No.
After the exit.
Yeah, we stopped traffic.
Yeah. Well, actually, he kind of stopped in the lane and then kind of pulled over. So we've got cars coming behind us honking. At one point, he puts the car into reverse as if we're going to back up on the highway to get to that exit, which would have not worked at all.
And the whole time you're just thinking, if you knew how to use GPS, you would just go to the next one. But
the whole time I was thinking, we're going to die in this car.
Yeah.
So after honking everything,
he finally convinced himself he needed to go forward.
Yeah, and I feel like we took off in like second gear, so there was like no power behind it.
Roads already. Yeah.
So then we get into.
He's back to driving with it.
Yeah.
Because it did pick up another route.
Yeah, and he did take
but
it.
But the whole time kind of kept like looking at me like.
Just, I don't live around here.
Well, I mean, I guess because I could understand the GPS, but it was confusing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes,
that like first thing we would have, if we were listening and driving, we would have missed it because it did say like go left and then go right or something. So then we're in the city, and we thought driving was bad, like in other cities, but Tirana's sort of like a higher level of crazy. So like here, roundabouts are 2 lanes, but people make them 3 lanes. Getting off a roundabout could be 2 lanes, and they make it 3 lanes.
It's just crazy.
It
just feed into a funnel.
So needless to say, my hands and feet, when I get very anxious, start sweating. So I'm like in the back, feeling like I'm going to die.
Well, I was in the back too, but I felt like I was in the front because I was
you're
leaning,
like,
I was in between
you're much
the
more
seats.
involved. I just sat in the back. I couldn't really see anything, but we made it.
And we got out quickly, and we gave him a good tip.
Yeah, and Jason's like, good luck, because he didn't have GPS to get out.
Yeah, but he didn't know good luck meant.
No, but
and
I don't know how he was going to get back out.
I'm sure it was crazy, probably.
Anyway.
We made it.
We made it. It cost a lot of money. It probably was still better than the bus.
It probably was.
But, so we got here. We've been busy. I can't see the computer. Like the first night we were just walking around and we run into in Skanderbeg, not Berg, Square, some type of political rally. And the back screen was half Albanian flag, half American flag, and people in the audience had American flags. But it was a pretty small rally. I mean, it was like 9 o'clock on a Friday night, so that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And you looked it up, and it's like some fringe political party.
Well, I don't know about fringe, but it's
small.
It seemed small. They had like a Facebook page, but it really wasn't. There wasn't much out there. There was some YouTube videos of the guy that we saw talking. And it just seemed to be a very small political group. Yeah. But the American flags might have been because, at least on their Facebook page, they had something that when I translated, like there was a total of like 3 pictures on there. And one of them had something on it that said, not being against anti-American sentiment. So maybe that's why there were flags there, but I don't know. But they were also the Democratic Party, Harsha Press Democrat. Don't know what that means, but
sure that's exactly how you pronounce it.
I'm sure.
We also went to Tapitani Mall. I was determined to buy a dress because I feel so out of place in the clothes I have.
That was the same day?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not kind of.
Oh.
I mean, I'm going in order, but
yeah.
And I tried some things on. I did not buy a dress.
It's like a 7-story mall, which is pretty big for here.
Tapitani Mall?
Yeah, or 6 or 7. I took a picture.
Yeah, but there weren't very many like clothing stores. That mall had a lot of like home goods.
Yeah, a lot of home goods, and it's just not
shoe stores.
It's not a Spanish mall.
No, it was not a Spanish mall. It wasn't crowded.
Not crowded. There's like one store that's really crowded, and that's like the Gabe's store of at Waikiki.
Oh, let's see, Waikiki. It's not Gabe's, but
I mean, I kind of picture it.
Kind of like
it's cheaper.
Walmart clothing or something.
Yeah, it's just cheaper than all the other stores, so it was crowded.
It was crowded.
All the other stores are empty. Empty that you're like, how do you stay in business?
Yeah.
There's like a bed store, and there was like 4
4
beds.
mattresses.
And there's a lady who works in there all day. And you're like, okay.
And then we've been to Bunk Art 2. I'll talk about them separately.
2 and 1.
2 and 1, but we went to 2 first. So that was mainly, what was that one mainly about?
That's in the downtown part, and it's just the same thing as Bunk Art 1. It's just
like anti-fascist kind of thing, wasn't it?
I was just taking a bunker that was left over from that Hoaxa, however you say his name, Enver Hoaxa. But that's not how you say it.
No, it looks like.
Yeah.
But Bunk Art 1 was more of like the chronological order of Albania. Bunk Art 2
it was more like a thrown together. You should have gone to Bunk Art 1.
Well, I mean, it had like talked about the surveillance techniques they used and how neighbors were turned against each other, but just how it gradually became very much a police state of Albania.
Yeah.
And Bunk Art 1 kind of talked more about the Italians took over, the Greeks took over, the Germans took over. So
lots of fun.
the poor Albanian people, and they're just wanting their own country. So you can kind of see why they did finally isolate themselves after everyone tried to take them.
Yeah, because that Enver Hoaxa guy was a sort of a fighter for them, and then he became leader. Things didn't go so good.
Fascist leader. And then we've gone to I can't tell you what the name of the mosque is in Albanian, but it translates to like the Great Mosque of Albania.
A big mosque.
It was huge, actually. I looked it up. The interior, it says, can hold 8,000 people, and the exterior can hold 2,000 people. And it just opened in October of 2024, so it's brand new. it was so pretty inside. We had to take your shoes off, and then I had a dress on, but of course my legs needed to be covered, my arms and my hair. So instead of 3 scarves that would be like fashioned together, they kind of put me in like this garment that was long sleeves.
I'll give you a hoodie, basically.
Like a dress.
A zip-up hoodie.
A dress with a hoodie on it. Yeah, it zipped up the front, and it had a hood to cover my hair. And I had to go in a separate door, and I didn't know at this point. And I had Jason, I was like, hold my bag, because I got to put this outfit on. And he had to enter a separate door, and I thought at some point we would be near each other. But I had to go up a spiral staircase, and I was on the balcony, and Jason was below. Jason could go in shorts and a t-shirt, but he didn't know where I was. So I'm on the balcony, and he's kind of like looking around, and like once I snapped really quiet, and when I was like, Jason, because people were praying, I didn't want to, obviously cause a scene and interrupt, what they're there to do. So finally, you saw me upstairs.
Well, I went back out.
Oh yeah,
and I saw the other entrance, and I was like, well, I was thinking maybe she went somewhere. Then I read the sign that said women. I thought, isn't this nice?
So it was mainly white inside,
mm-hmm.
with blue, huge chandelier. You took interior pictures, but he had my bag with my phone, so I have none. I might go back before we go, because I feel like
you can see more.
Yeah, and I didn't walk the whole way at the top because there were some women praying, and I didn't want to be a tourist in their space. But there were only 2 or 3 men praying.
Yeah, men are probably allowed to go upstairs, or unless it's dirty from the women being up there.
But the women that worked there were allowed. Were allowed downstairs. You saw a lady that gets you dressed down there, didn't you?
Yeah, she came in. I don't know what the deal. I don't understand that.
We don't know the culture.
Don't know the religion.
Or religion. So that was very interesting. And then we went to Bunk Art 1, which we already talked about. So we rode the bus to Bunk Art 1 and to the cable car, and it was so easy. There's a bus that goes to these 2 attractions. It's 40 lek, which probably is about 50 cents per person per way.
Yeah.
What were you?
I'll say the guy at Bunk Art 2, when we bought our tickets, you remember?
Oh yeah. He was like, do you know how to get, because we bought a combo ticket.
Yeah, bought a combo ticket, and he asked if we knew how to get that. And I said yes.
He said, yeah, you take the blue bus, and he's like, how did you know that? Did I tell you that?
No, he said, how did you know that? And I said, YouTube. And he was like, we didn't tell you that. I was like, kind of trying to figure out. I said, no, YouTube. And he said, oh, I thought you said YouTube.
But he was actually impressed that we knew how to get there, because I guess people don't look things up. But
yeah, he still wanted to add.
He was really nice.
Yeah, he was very nice. He just still wanted to add, like, well, do you know you got to go here and that, which I already knew.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say YouTube tells you everything about
it. But I mean, it's basically $2 round trip. It's probably a 20 to 30-minute ride, depending on traffic. So we took it to the cable car, and it probably took 30 minutes because traffic was
funnel system in the roundabout.
The roundabout.
Lots of honking craziness.
And of course, it's such an odd thing because there's the driver, and then there's the man that collects your money. So you don't get on and like tap a card or do anything. He just walks around and collects your money and gives you this little piece of paper, which I don't know what prevents you from just getting on with that piece of paper and showing it. I feel like they have a good memory of who they've taken money from.
Yeah, you mean? Well, I think they depend on memory.
Yeah.
Because I've thought that too. I thought, how would they? But they know.
Yeah, because every stop the guy walks through the bus again and collects money from people.
Yeah, and he knew who's getting. I mean, he doesn't even have to ask you where you're going.
Yeah.
He can tell if you're going to Bunk Art.
Yeah. So they would tell the people who look like tourists, get off at the next stop.
Yeah.
Not really. It was like, get off.
Yeah.
Bunk Art. Yeah.
Stay here. Don't get off at this site. But it is amazing how they know without even asking.
And then we went to get groceries that evening.
Okay.
And I fell for the 3rd time on this trip because I'm officially an elderly woman, apparently. I blame it on my shoes again, and I ordered a pair of shoes already that will arrive the day before we get back, but a
pair of orthotic shoes.
I was on the curb, and it's kind of hectic to cross the street because you don't know if there's a walkway, but you don't know
bikes, motorcycles,
people. You don't know if the cars are going to stop.
Buses.
There's a bus stop there, so
yeah, you try to get across if you can quickly.
And there you have to look around the bus. I know there was a bus there.
Yeah, and there were people coming from the right.
Anyway, I really don't recall what happened. I think I was in the process of putting my right foot on the ground and my left foot, because it was kind of like a slope on the curb. And I think my foot slipped because I've had this happen in these shoes. And then that must have thrown me off, and my right foot, I landed, like I just completely twisted my ankle. End up like just kind of directly sitting down. My bags go flying.
I said, "What are you doing?"
You normally do say.
I didn't say. I just picked up the bag
Yeah.
and moved away.
The guy stopped, I guess apparently was going to help me
guy.
out. So I survived. My ankle's purple and green, but
Better.
it's fine. I mean, it just kind of hurt for 2 days or
It was
something.
just a 1st degree sprain. You're moving up slowly. You went from bruise.
Yeah, major bruise. And we've kind of switched up what we're doing here because we're decided that we were not going to try to cook. We did like make a pizza here once.
But food is cheap here.
Food is cheap at restaurants here. Our apartment gets major sun, so if you like turn on the oven, it's just too hot. We do have air conditioning, but it just still makes it hot. So we eat breakfast and snacks and everything here, and we've been eating out just like once a day. So we found 2 places we really like so far. Jalapeno, Mexican food, and then Sakura, which is Japanese food. We've been there twice.
And jalapeno 3 times so
This
far.
one for the 3rd time. The owner is from Puerto Rico. We talked to him yesterday, and he was a COO of some company in Alexandria, Virginia, and moved here 4 months ago. And he said they're doing really well. And I asked him if do you get a lot of like British people and American people, and he was like, "Oh yeah, because they're looking for this type of food."
Well, because when we went in yesterday, we passed 2 Americans outside. And
6
then
British guys
6
inside.
British guys.
Everyone there speaks English because this guy.
Everybody in this town speaks English, but they were very.
I don't think
very
he
clear.
speaks Albanian as much, probably.
Yeah.
His fiance is Albanian, but yeah, he was super nice, and the food's good. But
really good. I mean, it's like, it's just like those British guys said, I needed this.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
That's like what you said in that other place, but I can't remember, but you needed something.
Yeah.
Oh, I think when we got back to, no, I can't remember. Somewhere you needed good food.
Yeah.
But this is more of like, it tastes like American food.
And they have hot sauce and.
So I'm assuming British people have Mexican restaurants.
But he said the people from the embassy, which is not the American embassy, it might be the British embassy nearby, come in a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. I'm sure we'll be back one more time before we go.
That's what we told him.
But when we go out to eat, it's mainly $22 to $27, $28 for both of us. That's meals, drinks.
Sometimes jalapeno, you have leftovers.
You always have leftovers, yeah. So it's much more economical than us just scrounging around the grocery store. I thought there might be a better variety of like pre-made foods or like frozen or refrigerated foods. I feel like the selection's worse than even like Flora.
Right, just because most people have small apartments and they eat out.
Yeah.
And the food goes bad so quick.
Yeah, like in Blora we had a tub of, Budva. I bought like margarine, because the butter's hard in the morning and you can't get the spread on your toast. So I bought margarine, which in the US can last.
Ours will still be good when we get back.
months.
And we've
years.
had it for 3 months
Yeah.
before we left.
We hadn't used it in like what, a week, and I opened it
Yeah.
and it was full of mold. We bought bread, so not like bakery bread, but like packaged bread, which you would think maybe had some type of preservatives, and it was moldy within 3 days.
If you don't put it in the freezer, it's moldy.
In fact, he probably ate it moldy and didn't realize it.
Yeah. Same with the red sauce.
Oh yeah, the pasta
Tomato
sauce.
sauce.
Yeah,
We ate that moldy.
we didn't realize it, but it only been in the refrigerator for like a week probably, and it had
Probably,
mold
yeah.
growing in it. So
No preservatives.
yeah, we definitely do different in the U.S. Probably not in a good way.
Yep.
Oh, we went to get contact solution, and for a 3-ounce bottle, it was $9.80-some.
Which I told the lady was a good price.
Yeah. The bigger bottle in Flora was going to be 13 or 1,300 lek, which would probably be close to 1,450 or something.
Yeah.
So that's insane.
Which raises the question of how do you afford to wear contacts?
Yeah.
She just used a very tiny amount.
A little bit. We managed to book airline tickets and a Budapest hotel or stay for the fall, so that was good. The other day we were going to go to a pizza place up the road, and it's on a back street, and we're walking around confused, and this cute little lady stops and she's like, "What are you looking for? Can I help you?" And we're like, "Oh, we're looking for this pizza place."
City.
And she's like, "Oh, okay, I'll go with you. Follow me."
Well, first we were like,
On the way.
Pizza City. Go ahead.
Yeah, on the way I was like, "Is it any good?" And she's like, she's like,
Nah.
she said, "My
Yeah.
son used to go there when he was in school or something."
So her teenage son
Likes their pizza. But I doubt they're like, I don't know. There's less pizza here than like Laura, which was more of an Italian influence. But we get there and it's closed. And she was like, "What? Oh, why was this closed? It was just open not too long ago." So she walks over to a different restaurant and bangs on the window and tells the guy to come over.
And then the restaurant's up
Yeah.
here, and she's down at their feet level,
Yeah.
her leg level, banging on the window.
So he comes over and she's asking him, and he's like, "Oh, they're moving to a new location." And this is all happening in Albanian. And we're like, "Oh, okay." And the guy's like, she's like, "You should go to this place." And you couldn't find it in
She
on the
said
map.
area,
Area.
AERO. Just put it in AERO. And I'm like trying to put it in there.
And
we're
the-
also just sort of thinking,
Yeah.
thank you, but
And the guy at the restaurant that had to open his window to help us, he's like, "Do you need Wi-Fi?" So he
Yeah.
was going to give us like the Wi-Fi code. So we've actually had some really nice interactions with people here.
Yeah.
I think,
lady at the grocery store was
yeah,
nice.
people at the grocery store to really like smile at you. And they hear speaking English, they're speaking English to us.
Yeah.
That helps things a lot. I really like Tirana.
It's nice.
They have better sidewalks,
Mm-hmm.
like wide sidewalks. Lots of tree-lined streets, so it's 90-some degrees, but you can pretty much stay in the shade almost anywhere you're going, depending on what side of the street you get on.
Mm-hmm. The lake.
They have a nice lake and a huge park around it. They do have other parks, so they have some green space, which other places don't always have. Street art.
Yeah, if we stayed again, we'd stay a little bit closer to the lake.
Yeah,
Probably.
so we could walk there more.
That way you get out of, it's sort of like Central Park,
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah, much more.
Much smaller, but a way to get out of honking,
Yeah.
congestion, noise.
The
So
rest,
it's nice that it's close
Yeah.
to the city.
the restaurant food is so reasonable. Like we got ice cream yesterday, and it was expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 300 lek. We both got a ice cream cone.
Yeah, that was expensive compared to the.
Yeah, so that was 150 lek each. A lot of places on the street, it's 100 lek, which probably is $1.25, and you get like the what's the cone?
Sugar cone?
Sugar cone and the pointy one.
Yeah, I think it's sugar cone.
Yeah. There's like the cheapy ones that I don't like, and then the good
Yeah.
pointy ones. So it's the pointy cone, you don't pay extra like you would do in the U.S.
I don't think they even had the cheap ones, did
I
they?
think they did.
Oh, okay.
I think there were 2.
Hmm.
I'd have to pay attention. But, you know, ice cream for 2 ice cream cones for $3.50
And you see everybody eating ice cream.
every day. All day long.
It's
It's
hot.
hot.
And there's ice cream everywhere.
Yeah.
So you can just stop while you're walking.
Yeah, because they have counters like on the sidewalk, so you just walk up and get your ice cream. But I really enjoy.
Yeah,
Tirana.
it's a nice.
Oh, we did go to the cable car yesterday. I forgot about that.
Yeah, which we kind of said that bus ride was crazy with the bus. Just people will just they just stop in the middle of the street and
I tried
go
to
get
film
lunch.
it. A cement truck
Cement truck.
pulled over, and no one could go around
And
him.
this is after we fought through one traffic
Yeah.
jam of, I don't remember what was causing it. I think that was just
the backlog at the
the backlog at the funnel
yeah.
into one lane.
But so like, and that I filmed it, but I turned the camera sideways and never put it back up, so it's not a great video. But I was on the window side, a taxi was coming, and there could not have been 3 inches between.
Multiple cars, it wasn't just
The bus.
Like even the people in the cars were like
Yeah,
looking at
looking.
the bus.
Like, am I gonna make this? But
And
then,
the bus driver's honking his horn. It's just-
but then like you're barely scraping by a taxi, and then there's like a motorcycle sitting there, like they're in such a hurry they want to go
yeah,
through.
pass.
And then the dump truck blocked the road, so our bus driver is just like laying on the horn.
Because he was doing something.
He was like probably getting a cup of coffee. Because he came from a store, he's got in his cement truck, and on
Yeah,
he
like
went.
that happens a lot. People that honk their horn for the person to come get back to the
Yeah.
car because they just
Leave
stop
their
it.
car.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that was exciting. The cable car was nice.
Yeah. It
I
nice.
was
It's kind of
anxious
boring at the
on the
top,
way over. I had to shut my eyes for part of it. Yeah, there's not a bunch to do at the
but not a
top
lot. They have mini golf, but they explained what that is.
on the internet, on their
So,
website. They have a website.
We're glad that we had a clear understanding.
And
We
I
didn't
didn't.
play.
Yeah, we did not play. There weren't a lot of overlooks, which is bizarre to take this. I mean, we paid €30, so $35 to go to this place, and there's hardly anywhere to like,
Well, I think that whole
Overlook.
front where we're sitting used to be an overlook.
and all the trees grew.
But they only have weed eaters to cut down brush. So it would
Well,
be
it's
really
trees.
tough to
Also
cut down trees.
with a weed eater. And there were a lot of stray dogs up there that looked pretty bad. And they had just emptied the trash cans, and there was what, 3, like digging through the area where the extra trash fell out, and there's glass all over the ground. And I wanted to buy them hamburgers. I don't think they had
They
hamburgers.
didn't have hot dogs. They had hamburgers. They only had popcorn and cigarettes.
Yeah, there's a vendor that sold popcorn and cigarettes. And then there were horses that you could ride, and they weren't even in a like fenced-in field. They looked underweight. They
Not
didn't.
all of them.
They didn't have like. I mean, they were covered in
Maybe
flies.
they're just old. Yeah, covered in flies. But horses are usually covered in flies.
I know. So finally, I was
I think
like,
it was the image of the dogs, and then you moved to the horses.
yeah, I was like, I've seen enough
Yeah.
animal cruelty. We need to
Well,
go. In my eye,
Yes.
I
Maybe the dogs are happy.
was like, if I just brought a bag of dog food, I should have brought a bag of dog. Probably cost €20, but
Anyways, it was good to see, and it was a fun ride.
yeah, the way back was fine. I wasn't nervous on the way back.
Yeah.
Downhill.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes each way. So
Yeah.
we had to share a car with some French people on the way over, and we had our own car on the way back. But when we got back to the station, it was really not really crowded. It was pretty crowded.
Yeah, for people going up.
But because we got back at like what 2 o'clock or something. So that's all we've been doing.
Yeah.
We don't really have anything left on our list to see. We might go to that one church, maybe the mosque, maybe back to the lake. I don't know what we'll do.
We went back to the lake already.
I know.
Walked all around.
Went to the saw the Woodrow Wilson School and the
We
George
walked all
W.
over.
Bush.
Yeah.
library. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have much going on. We've scheduled a taxi, not the guy from
Yeah, he probably would have.
he probably would have. To take us to the airport.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Airport hotel on Wednesday. Our flight is Thursday at 6:30 in the morning, so we'll stay at the airport the night before. So we just have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, part of Wednesday. We still need to book some places for the fall before we go home. But
Excited for Indian food and
yeah,
Thai food.
we're gonna be eating Indian food on Friday, June 27th.
Maybe.
I think so.
Okay.
I really want it. And we'll probably do one more video, maybe, with kind of our summary like we did before, answer questions, and the budget. The review. My favorite part. We're on budget. We're under budget.
I know. Yeah. Save money every day.
That's right. So, once again, thanks for listening to us blab on and on.